start, right? I mean,
I mean, it happened so quickly, right? It just looked like trades were happening.
right.
Hikaru took a minute to play knight e1, if you recall, and Magnus took the initiative, won a pawn. Just there was no chance afterwards. But that was after knight e1, which Hikaru spent like a minute on
Right.
when he had the option of moving forward or trying to initiate some more trades.
It's got to be
That
strange, right? As someone who's played Hikaru and knows just how fast he is, and that he's. When was the last time you saw
fast
Hikaru
and
down by 3
aggressive.
minutes to anybody, right?
Yeah, fast and aggressive. He didn't get a playable position in that game. Um, he's got to go for something sharp right away, and he has. That's nice because that last game is just like a position Magnus will play all day, and if that happens, I think
Right.
yeah, he's just a massive favorite. He needs to be challenged from the beginning. Um, so let's see.
Well, you made a point about the fact that Hikaru might be playing the London because he thinks it's going to lead to long games, and maybe he likes his chances in Bullet better. But if games go anywhere close to how the last one did, where Magnus won almost easily with Black, then I think Hikaru has to go to his style, which is not to play long games regardless of the speed chess format and try to get
Yeah,
crazy and open dynamic positions, right?
and clearly it wasn't a long game. Magnus played that so quickly. He was so comfortable playing that position, and it didn't even end up being very competitive or long. So yeah, those symmetrical positions, that's not where I see Naka scoring points against
Right.
Magnus, unless Magnus just blunders. But uh, Magnus just won the World Rapid Championship, almost won the
World
World Blitz.
Blitz. A
He's
non a
very,
non won
oh,
the
sorry,
World Rapid.
sorry,
The
yeah,
old
yeah.
Tiger.
He
Yeah.
won, he won the World Blitz. He's very warmed up.
Yes.
I don't expect him to be in much time trouble. I don't expect him to be slow in his calculation. I think
Right.
he is he's fresh coming into the event compared to
Yep.
Hikaru.
Shout out to Jan Ludvig Hammer, former second of Magnus, sort of the face of Norwegian chess content in many ways, who just subscribed to our Twitch. Thanks for the support there, buddy. All right, well, how do you evaluate a position like this? Interesting dynamics when you have Black with the two bishops. Everybody, that means that the open center, open position, sort of favors them dynamically. But Black has these weak positional pawns on the open file, where leaving White to have a target long term. So how do you evaluate the imbalance here
Well, I think it's dynamically balanced, but I think this is the right way to go.
for Hikaru?
For Hikaru, yeah, he's got some. He might be playing a5 at some point or c5. He
Right.
can take on b3. Um, Magnus wants to stabilize, but yeah, an imbalanced position is exactly what I'd go for. Maybe he wants to play rook e8 and threaten bishop takes b3, bishop d4 with a pretty annoying pin.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe rook e8 we're going to see in this position. But he's got his rooks developed. He's got open bishops. Both bishops are pretty strong. And yes, he's got the double c pawns, but I think this is
He goes for it
the
now.
right
I'm predicting
position.
he'll play bishop d4 next, just because. Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
I guess he's saying that if you take a7 and win the pawn back, bishop
Bishop
d4 maybe
d4
comes with tempo, right? And then
yeah,
rook e8. That must be his idea, yeah. So Magnus says, I'm not going to
c5,
allow that, and plays rook d1.
c5, maybe knight d5. There's bishop takes b2 as well. This might actually lead to a lot of trades, but
Right.
I'm sure Hikaru is looking for more. But I mean, he's doing great out of the opening.
No, you're right.
We're,
And this is exactly, from a match strategy perspective, the type of position Hikaru has the best chance to get a win. And now he's going to hold on to his A pawn. Even though it's weak and isolated, he wants the extra pawn, and maybe now he can start playing a plan like a5, a4, and a3.
a5, a4. Yeah,
Yeah, I
a5,
like it.
a4. I like that a lot.
So
He's up
now,
a
from
pawn.
White's perspective, how is Magnus untying the bad development here with the b2 pawn being a target?
He's going to play rook d2 to
Rook
c2.
c2. Yeah.
Maybe the other rook to a2
Right.
to keep defending it.
Yeah. Something.
Hikaru with a5 also can play rook a6 if c6 ever gets attacked.
Right.
So, but
Something
this is
like
good for
this.
black. This is good for black.
Yeah. Will it be enough to get the full point and strike back? It'll be interesting to see if Hikaru can maintain level ground in blitz when most
like
people,
c5
besides
here.
my co-host, have Hikaru kind of favored in bullet.
I have c5 here so that you can sometimes
bishop
play
d4.
bishop d4 or c4. c4, c3 is going to become an option in some lines. Also note that if knight c3, there might be the rook takes c3 opportunity instead of bishop takes c3 if you want to liquidate more.
Shout out to Tarye JS and Bareface
c4,
for the
c4
last two
here.
subs. Yeah, we got to
This
get
is looking
C4.
really good. c4, c4, bishop d2 is going to be played, and White's going to try to play bishop c3 and plug everything. So bishop d2, bishop c3. I'm expecting after a4. Black's going to play a4, put the pawns on light squares.
So one of the other ideas might be for black to keep the bishops on the board, play a move like bishop f8 or bishop h6.
Yeah. Bishop f8, I'm a bit worried about knight e3
And
and
then knight d5 and coming in here, right?
yeah. Well, after knight e3, our knight on d6 has to stay there to protect c4, but then our bishop on f8 is not too effective. So this is a critical decision
So
right
would
now.
you? Yeah, and Hikaru is treating it as such. You can tell he's thinking. So he decides to trade. I guess he didn't want to. He didn't want to have to deal with this idea of Magnus owning this long diagonal.
Knight b1.
Wow.
Did we all just miss that? Did we all just miss that?
I
think so.
did. I mean,
that might be a game changer, Danny.
Might be a huge game changer. You can tell by Hikaru's face that he's calculating rapidly. Whether he missed it or not, who knows? But
if a2, the knight goes back to c3. If white really wins the pawn back,
yeah,
white has a
Hikaru's just
good position because of these double c pawns.
You can play the move rook a to b8. Okay, he didn't play that. I wonder if rook a to b8 might have kept a small advantage, but now
c3. What happens after c3
okay, so
here?
C3. C3 would take advantage of the pin here, everybody, and Hikaru finds it. Magnus can't take without this falling. Oh, or he can. He's sacrificing the exchange now.
I like the decision. Knight takes c3. It's a knight and a pawn, but the king is very safe on f2, fortunately, because the pawn is still on e2. It's not pushed forward. And black c7 pawn is going to be targeted. Also, the rook on c2 is really good as just controlling everything. So I think this is a very, very good practical decision.
For Magnus.
Yeah. King g2. I wouldn't play. Okay, h4 is also. I guess the king is safe on. Actually, that's funny, Danny. If rook h2, king g1, and the rook is trapped.
Yeah, that's a fun little tactic to highlight, everybody. Not every day you self-trap a rook on h2. Seems like something I would do in Blitz, but okay. We move on.
So if rook takes c7, there was a rook takes b2 and rook h2 check. So I think what Magnus is going to do is he's not really going to aggressively try to win the c7 pawn. First, he's just asking black what are the rooks going to be doing on the second rank. With his knight on d3, there's nothing to attack.
Yeah, I mean the knight holds the b2 pawn, the rook holds e2.
King g2, rook b1, king f2.
Probably one of the only reasons to keep pushing this if you're Hikaru is just to maybe work out some of the nerves and. Well, you got to get used to playing positions where you had a chance to win, right? You want to psychologically establish I can be in better positions against the world champion.
White has a very easy position here. I don't think there's any winning chances for Hikaru because there's no breaks. You can't like b4. This knight on d3 is just that's just an outpost that controls
solid
everything.
As a rock.
This is so solid and so easy to play too.
Yeah, I expect
if you overpush.
What do you? How much play do you give that idea that you just want to play positions where you're better against Magnus to help the overall psychology of the match?
I don't think he's better here, and I think Magnus knows that, and Hikaru knows that. So if he was a bit better, I would say play on. But this is actually a position that I think, if anything, the most likely result is black over pushing and losing. If he loses one more pawn, then that knight and two pawns, that solid knight is actually going to be preferred, especially in low time controls. Knights are so tricky,
right,
and so effective. I don't think he's better at all.
Okay, well,
I need an idea to see how do you generate a pass pawn, how do you get your rooks effective. I don't see anything.
You can't really gang up on the e2 pawn here. Now both rook c2 or knight f4 are both fine. Yeah, Magnus chooses the knight move, but it's just a game of tickle, though. At this point, neither side's really better, but also neither side can really push without taking huge risks, right? So it's just a matter of how long they want to do this. From a match strategy, again, though, let's talk about it because we have 70 minutes left in the 5-minute portion, Eric. And do you think Hikaru has the idea that he needs to draw these games out as best he can to get to the bullet, regardless of your prediction? Do you think that's going to be part of his thoughts?
It would be normally, but because Magnus has been playing a lot of bullet, I think we've
hard
seen
for me
that
to get you to
backfire.
agree with
We've
that,
seen
given
this,
that you pick Magnus in bullet. But I think, given the way these, here I'll put it this way: I have a hard time believing that Hikaru thinks he's going to beat Magnus in blitz. Given their previous match history, given the fact that Magnus is now again the reigning World Blitz champion, so.
But he can't just come up with the approach that like. If they play long games that are quite solid like this, like in a 20, 30 game match, I'm expecting this to be much more suitable for Magnus than Hikaru. He doesn't benefit from some of his best qualities, which is like dynamic positions, which is recovering from losses, and you know, some of his best qualities aren't gonna, like, we don't associate this style with Hikaru and why he's one of the best or most feared speed chess players in the world.
Right. Okay, and now he's lost the c-pawn still
his
with
speed, his tactics, all those things are out the window if he adopts that approach.
the idea that he really just wants to play solid long games. So you're saying it's not worth the risk of going so far against your own style to try to play into the match strategy of the speed chess.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
No, I think Magnus is too well rounded anyways. He's
Okay.
you're not
Well, we are the number 3 show right now on twitch.tv, Mr. Hansen. So I want to thank everybody who's tuning in. Shout out to all of our
We're on
viewers.
our way to number 1.
We're gonna get us to number 1. It's time to raid. Tell your friends. Tell everybody. Let's change the chess world forever and get to number 1 on Twitch. Take that, League of Legends. All right. Well, this is a
He
game.
offered a draw, and I'm not sure Magnus would accept. I would not accept if I was Magnus.
Right.
I think I would. Oh,
Okay, well, he does.
He's happy. He's happy. Okay.
Well, Magnus, I guess, was still in a position of strength. He's